Hi everyone. In this third video in the Getting More Clients Online series, I'm going to be talking about some of the website essentials, particularly talking about your homepage. These days, no matter how you choose to market yourself, an effective website is a critical part of your overall marketing strategy. Because no matter how people hear of you, and your product or your service, a high percentage of them are going to be coming to your website to check you out, to learn more about you or your product. And if you play your cards right, you will have the opportunity to begin win-win, long-term relationships with many thousands of your ideal clients at costs that are just a fraction of what it would take in traditional marketing. So I fully appreciate many of you have a website, and most likely you're probably profoundly underwhelmed at the limited amount of business you've generated from it. I also appreciate that many of you have been turned off by the common examples of overly salesy, high hype, or overly technical web marketing activities you might see. You might feel that the web is just too complicated for you and perhaps concluded it's just a waste of time. However, just because you haven't figured out how to connect your ideal clients in a genuine, high integrity way, please do not throw out the baby with the bathwater. There is a digital revolution happening that is making it possible for the smallest business to affordably connect with unprecedented numbers of your ideal clients all around the world. And this trend is only going to keep growing. It's a fact from good social media research that already over 90% of business-to-business purchase decisions are now initiated online. And you don't have to be a computer geek to participate in this digital revolution and get your share of this growing market. I have worked with hundreds and hundreds of small business people with little or no technical interest or ability. And I know that with as little as 5 to 10 hours of work, you can have a website and an online presence that is going to generate a whole lot of business for you. In fact, I know hundreds of small business owners that now rely on their websites to generate a majority of their business, which is really great because it allows you to have a very flexible existence in that you can connect with your clients anywhere in the world, and you can market from wherever you are, at home or on vacation. So really in this video, I want to get into some of the key components of a website that will generate business for you. One that you can trust, one that is going to attract a steady stream of your ideal customers 24 hours a day. Whether you're at home working, whether you're on vacation, it's not going to matter. And once you understand how this works, I believe you're going to thank yourself for persevering and not missing out on the benefits of perhaps the biggest revolution in our lifetime. Okay, as I mentioned in the last video, the first in this series, in any marketing, particularly your online marketing activities, you really need to know who you're marketing to, who you're writing to. And so you've got to do your research. You need to really understand the people in your chosen market. You need to know what they call themselves, what they're thinking about, what their biggest problems are, what their goals, dreams, and most desired outcomes are. And you need to know how you can help them and why they should choose you over any other solution provider they're checking out. The key point is that the research you do allows you to speak your customer's language. It allows you to speak about what they are interested in, because they're usually not interested in you or me. And if your product or service is something that's relatively new, like coaching, they're probably not interested in it. And you also need to appreciate really the frame of mind that these people that are visiting your website are in. because it's a really important part in how you frame the conversation you're going to have for them. And really, once you move out beyond the kind of the sphere of people that already know who you are, when you begin to market to people that don't know you, you've got to appreciate that you are talking to people, you're writing to people who have come to your website via some search or browsing or referral process. And chances are they have never heard of you. They are checking out other solution providers. And most importantly, you have to appreciate that they are in a heck of a hurry. Whatever they typed into Google, they have found millions of solutions, and they're only going to go through maybe the top 5, the top 10, and they're going to click on your site, and in just a fraction of a second, they're going to make a first decision whether this is for them or not. And you've got to, you've got to recognize that mindset. They are in a hurry. And you also got to appreciate that 99% of them, and this is a pretty good rule of thumb in digital marketing, 99% of your visitors to your homepage are not ready to buy today. They're just doing their initial research. They're just checking things out, and they are browsing really quickly. And social media research indicates that they are in such a hurry that they will read only about 25% of your site, right? So, and that's if you're successful engaging them in the first place. So remember this when you begin to write your content for your websites, for your, your posts and everything you do in social media and online. You're writing to people that don't know about you. They're in a heck of a hurry. They're checking out sites. And so this means you've got to pay a lot of attention to ensure that you engage them. You've got to carefully select your headings and images at the top of your page to quickly communicate your value proposition. You really need to quickly reassure them that you're talking about what they're interested in, that they can learn something here. And if you are successful in engaging them, further down on your homepage, you've got to expand on your value proposition by writing in small paragraphs with subheadings so that these hurried people that are only reading 25% of what you got there can skip to the information they're interested in. And most of them are interested in a pretty predictable range of topics. They're interested in, their top problems. They're interested in who the heck you are. They're interested in kind of how you help them or how your product can help them achieve the outcomes they want. And so, you got to be ensuring that what you're putting there is information they're interested in and they can get it quickly, so that when they get to the bottom of your page, a good percentage of them, have had their basic questions and concerns and skepticism addressed, and they're ready to say yes to something. However, unless you're selling a very well understood product or service, remember that 99% of them aren't ready to buy today. So you want to be thinking about having something on your website they can say yes to. So this is typically, helping them with some short article or a video or course. It's got to be something that isn't lame, something they haven't seen dozens of times before, something that's relevant to them, something that they look at and say, damn, that looks interesting. I could probably learn something. Maybe I can, click yes to get the free report or article. You had better come up with something that's relevant and practical and easy to access. And if you do that, then you have a really good chance that a decent percentage of them are going to click there, and that's going to start a relationship. And just know these days there's few people that are going to click to say yes to your newsletter or your blog or some sort of free sample session. It's a really small percentage. So come up with something that's relevant to them, that does engage them. And the value in that kind of free article report is that when they click on that, they will submit their email and kind of give you permission to stay in touch through, articles or your Facebook page or, your newsletter. And you've got a chance over time to move from somebody they've never heard of on the first day they arrive in your site to someone that they periodically get good information from. They benefit from reading what you put out to them or watching what you put out to them. They're learning more about you. They're learning more about the important changes in, their life, their careers, their businesses. And they're slowly getting to a place where now they're ready to hire you. So this process does take a number of contacts or a number of touches. But the gift in the digital marketing revolution is that you can reach unprecedented number of people. So even though a small percentage of them might be interested in what you're doing, and an even smaller percentage are going to connect with you, that aggregate number grows and grows and grows. And as you stay in touch with those people, it turns into thousands and thousands of people. Every time, you share something of interest to them, a percentage of them is now ready to work with you. And to get to that stage is really what I'd want for all of you, because once you get there, you've got a business that you can count on. You've got a business that you can support without ever leaving your office if you choose. So that's why you want to take care and take time for this. And remember that, digital marketing, modern marketing is all about building long-term win-win kind of awareness building relationships. So you got to put in the time up front. But if you do, and if you, are generous and treat people the way you'd want to be treated, it'll pay off for you. Okay. So in addition to what I've already discussed, I've got a number of other issues that come up all the time in the way that, small business folks kind of market online, and as it relates to specifically to their websites. Many small business people's websites simply do not reassure and engage visitors in the kind of the top 6 inches, which is called above the fold, what you see on your usual laptop or, on your handheld device at the top of the page. So you've got to pay attention there to make sure people, get reassured quickly that you're talking about what they're interested in. If you don't do that, they are gone very, very quickly. Another point, many sites do not use images well. Some sites have huge, gorgeous images that are way too big, that take way too long to load, and particularly on, cellular networks and digital devices. And now more than 50% of all searches are initiated on digital devices, handheld devices. If you've got a site that takes so long to load because you've got all these images in it, then they're going to be gone. So you want good images, but you need images that engage them. You need a combination of images and headings. They can't be too big. And on the other side of the spectrum, you don't want to have no images, so your site's just a block of text, because that's a sure invitation for them to just click and be gone. So not too many images, not too few images. Another point to check on your website is most small business websites have no or a really poor call to action. In other words, that thing that you're offering them. And of course, a lot of sites have a call for action that pops up before they've had a chance to even get to know who the heck you are. How can they make an informed decision about whether they want you to report if they haven't had a chance to read the little bit about you? That kind of can really back up a reasonable percentage of your audience. It's like closing, it's like shoving something in their face before they've learned anything from you. So I do not think, I know that's a common practice, but I would not encourage you to take that practice if you're interested in long-term value-added relationships. So just remember that you want a good call to action, something that's relevant for your audience, something that a good percentage can say yes to. Another point is way too many small businesses pay too much, or on the other end, pay like next to nothing for their websites. These days, most small businesses prefer what's called CMS sites, content management sites. These are sites like WordPress where you can, the owner, can log in and edit things and change things. And that's a really, really useful, feature, because your content is always evolving and changing. So at one end of the scale, you have people that try to build the website all by themselves. And sure enough, there's lots of tutorials that allow you to do that. but I have yet to see a site that somebody did by themselves for the first time that display consistently on all, machines, whether it's a Mac or an Apple, a PC, or, a handheld, a laptop. Usually they end up looking amateurish. They're loaded with glitches and mistakes that get them penalized by Google. So doing it by yourself for your business is kind of a risky thing because it can really turn off your customers. And conversely, at the other end of the spectrum, I know a whole lot of business that spend way too much for a basic website. I know people are spending $5,000, $7,000, $10,000 and just getting ripped off for like a 5 or 7 page site. You do not have to pay that much, and there's a lot you can do to get multiple quotes and get an affordable site that displays consistently, works well with the search engines, and it's going to serve you for a long time. So generally, if you want to save money and have a good site, it's really important to kind of get your ducks in a row. By that I mean, do your homework, get all your content ready, your kind of text for your main pages, particularly your home page. Get examples of other sites whose style you like, and then you can go out and get some quotes from web designers that know your industry, that are well recommended. And when you do all that homework and go out for a quote, it kind of messages to the designers that you know what you're doing, so they're not going to quote you 2 or 3 times the going rate because they sense, okay, this person's ready to go. I don't have to hold their hand forever. And I also recommend when you get a website that have an area on your site for posting fresh content like articles or a blog, because that helps you in a multitude of ways. It helps you with your SEO, getting fresh content, search engine optimization, and it really helps you building relationships with your audience. Okay, another point is a lot of small businesses never do some of the basic checks on your website. There are a number of free checks you can run on your website really quickly that are going to catch some of the big glitches. I really recommend, if you haven't had your site updated in the last few years, that you do Google Page Speed Insights. You just Google that, Google Page Speed Insights. You'll find that. It'll tell you how fast your page is. If your page loads in like more than 2 or 3 seconds, you're way too slow, and people are not going to be waiting for it. Same thing if you haven't updated your site in the last few years or you don't have a CMS site, do the Google Mobile Friendly test. And lastly, there's a W3C markup validation test. W3C, that's just a convention of a computer language, but it's an easy test that'll just see how many mistakes you've got on your page. And if your page has way too many mistakes, it can get penalized by the search engines, and so never come up where you want it to. Okay, another topic, big topic, is keywords, and I think this is really important because, again, like 90% of the small businesses that I see, they just don't do their keywords. They delegate it to someone. They usually delegate it to their web designer. The web designer doesn't know the ins and outs of this, so they just find the most highly trafficked words, plug it into the site. And of course, the most highly trafficked keyword phrases have way too much competition. And if you've got a small site or a new site, there's no way you're going to show up on the first page of Google. And if you're not there, it doesn't count. You might as well be lost in space because nobody's going to find you. So there is an art of kind of finding the keywords that give you the most traffic and the least competition. And I really invite you to learn a little bit about this and get help on this if you're serious about maximizing, the business from your website. In terms of references, a lovely online resource is at Moz.com, spelled M-O-Z or M-O-Z.com. A lot of free tutorials on basic SEO stuff. But the bottom line is this is something that you're probably going to need a little help on, but it's not a lot. I mean, when I do this work with clients, it's usually, a couple of calls to help them kind of figure this out and get that into their site and figure out where to place that. So the search engines can now match you to the search phrases that you can compete on, and that makes a huge difference on your website. Okay, another important topic. This is a big kind of topic, so there's a lot to cover. But another important consideration on a good website is really kind of the voice or tone with which you communicate, you write. The days of the impersonal, overly serious, overly professional, academic voice in marketing is dying fast. One of the big drivers of modern social networks is that it's really the fact that we people trust other people more than we trust institutions or companies. So what this means for small business and solopreneurs, when you write to your audience, be yourself, be relaxed. I mean, be professional, but be relaxed. Let your personality out. People need to get a feel for who you are and who they're dealing with. You don't have to be a stand-up comic. You don't have to be different than you are. None of us is going to appeal to everyone. But if you're who you are, that authenticity will come out, and the people that are the best client or customer for you is going to connect. So don't be hung up because, you don't look like a movie star, or, you don't have, this background or that background. Be yourself. Let kind of your freak flag fly in a professional sense, meaning just let who you are out, and you'll be able to connect with the people that you're an exact match for. Also, resist the urge to put too much information and too many choices on your homepage. Confused customers do not buy. You don't want dozens of little choices. Go here, read this, read that, because they're going to get all lost in your website and never get to a point where they can make a decision to start a relationship with you. And they're going to click off and they're going to be gone, and they may or may not ever find their way back. Also, as I've mentioned a couple of times, I would encourage you to put the vast majority of your effort into your homepage, because if you do not get that right, then nobody's going to make it to your interior pages. People, when they study, people's attention on when they're researching stuff, there's a decision after a first, second or two. There's another decision, a few seconds more. And if you're not engaging in those people there, they're gone. So put a lot of effort onto your homepage. Now, when you get your site focused on your ideal clients and you're connected to good keywords and it's working all well, you got to continue to add fresh content to your site. This is important for SEO purposes, but it's also important because as you add more content to your site, you can share that content. If you add a new article onto your website, you can share that in social media and other places. And when people in social media are going to see that article, they're going to come back to your site, they're going to, join your kind of community. And also the search engines are going to start to see, articles or links back to your site spread throughout the internet. And the more of that they see, the more they reason your site's got good content, and then they increase kind of your page rank or your domain authority, and that makes it easier for you to show up higher for your keywords. Okay, finally, as many small businesses have a great interest in getting clients close to home, please, in your kind of online marketing activities, do not overlook making the most of your local business listings and maps. This local search function continues to evolve. I mean, it evolves about every few months. But currently, if you search Google My Business, you're going to find some good information and tutorials that'll help you get your business listed locally, get you kind of connected to the local listings and maps, allow you to kind of come up preferentially in searches in your area. There's a whole lot of benefits that you can get out of doing that. All right, so as I've mentioned and said a couple of times now, this is a vast topic. We could go on for a long time, but really today, I just wanted to talk a little bit about some of the essentials, some of the kind of practical side of, getting your mind together on your website and that sort of stuff. Know that there's tons of articles out there about kind of the nitty-gritty stuff of choosing website designs and colors and hostings and stuff like that. But I wouldn't bury myself in that. You're gonna get overwhelmed. If you can focus on kind of your message to your audience and kind of the style of site you want. And then you can, delegate the preparation of your site to a good web designer that knows your industry. I mean, you can get a lot of help these days from web designers, from business coaches, from people that'll help you editing, virtual assistants. There's a lot of people that can hold your hand and do all this stuff that you have no interest in doing and probably would take you forever to figure out. So you focus on what's most important. Your clients, your value proposition to them, how you can create more value for them, being yourself. And if you do that, you can get help for the rest. And yes, help costs, but I mean, if you do it right, it doesn't cost a lot. And you've got to recognize that if you do this right, you can have a website and an online presence that will give you a continuous stream of clients for as long as you're going to be in business. And so when you look at the possible, revenue stream from that, spending, a couple of $1,000s on, websites and, getting the technical help you need to get this thing launched and kind of holding your hand while you figure this out is peanuts in the long term. And I think the other cool thing about digital marketing is kind of once you figure this stuff out, there are ways that you can reach your audience quickly, like instantly, that have just, didn't exist even a few years ago. So, as I say, we could go on for quite a while here, but that's what I wanted to say today, to give you something to think about and really encourage you kind of to take the next step. And so I'll leave it here for today. But as usual, if you found some value here, please like and share and comment on these videos. I'd love to know what you want to hear more of, any burning issues you have. And, stay tuned for the next video in this series. I've got a whole bunch of other videos planned to go into more depth on many of the topics that I think are most important to you. Okay, everybody, take care. Have a good day.